Rawteur, and saying Simon Cowell was mean would be an understatement.
If I were you, I'd phone up the War Department, volunteer your services, because you've just invented a new form of torture.
He was cruel.
Last year I described someone as being the worst singer in America. I think you're possibly the worst singer in the world, based on that performance. And I'm absolutely serious. I've never, ever heard anything like that in my life. Ever.
Vicious.
Because I think we're going to need to end this. What's very interesting is you are where you are now for one reason and one reason only. You are a loser.
Simon Cowell was the definition of a bully and a clout chaser. And he made millions from it. And now, after all that, here's Simon finally trying to explain himself.
I wasn't trying to be a dick on purpose. All I wanted with these shows was to find successful artists to sign to the label. So I was frustrated at the beginning because I thought, if we don't find someone good at the end of these shows, they're not going to get recommissioned.
So here's the thing. What he's saying right there is only half true. Production days are long, and yeah, anybody who has ever worked behind the scenes knows exactly how stressful those shoots can get. So early on, when he says he was frustrated and just being blunt, I actually believe that part. I think in season 1, maybe a little bit into season 2, Simon Cowell was just telling the truth. The problem is that the truth slowly turned into his entire personality. Being blunt became a shtick, right? It turned into the reason people were tuning in. Simon Cowell became the face of televised humiliation. Simon Cowell was clout chasing before social media. Simon Cowell was clip farming before clip farming even existed. He was doing all of this at a time when those contestants didn't have a platform to defend themselves, and those moments will live on forever. So when he sits there and says he wasn't trying to be a dick on purpose, I think he's rewriting history just a little bit, because once the ratings took off, it became obvious that the network and the show were actively selling Simon Cowell's cruelty. And he knew it. He absolutely knew it. And even if producers selected the absolutely worst moments for TV, let's not pretend that Simon Cowell was somehow powerless, right? He had the kind of influence where he could have said, no, that's too far. Don't air that. He could have protected people if he wanted to.
Well, there are a lot of Simon Cowell insult compilations from American Idol online, you'll be happy to know. You told singers they'd invented a new form of torture. You made some fat jokes. You had a common one that they were the worst singer in America.
Lulu, do we have to go through this?
Yes, we have to go through it. And then the camera would sort of cut to people looking absolutely crushed. I mean, what is the line, do you think, between bluntness and humiliation?
I've got to be honest with you. That's why I did change over time. I mean, I did realize I've probably gone too far.
The interviewer brings up the humiliation directly. The fat jokes, the torture jokes, people crying, people getting absolutely crushed on national television in front of millions of people. And when she asks him where the line between bluntness and humiliation is, he undersells it. Simon says he changed over time. But over time was almost a decade. He was an asshole for years. And being tired and frustrated is not an excuse to humiliate people, right? Feeling frustrated is not an excuse to embarrass a girl about her weight when it has nothing to do with her voice.
You sound nice but look like a shop girl. That's the problem.
Okay,
You don't
that's
like
something could be worked on.
Well, it's a lot of work.
I would do anything for this. I know what you're saying.
What am I saying?
That I'm overweight,
You
basically.
are. You really are.
He tries to soften it, but that moment is 100% revisionist history, especially when the interviewer is sitting there describing exactly what he did, and he's acting like he barely remembers it. And then we finally get to the apology. But to me, that apology was horrible.
Of course, you know, out of 100 nice comments, what are they going to use? They're always going to use, you know, me being in a bad mood. I got that. What can I say? I'm sorry.
What are you apologizing for exactly?
Well, just being a dick, you know.
But it also made good TV, and it made you into an integral part of what made that show work.
Yeah. Yeah. That was then. I'm not proud of it.
I mean, he chuckles. A crew member off screen even chuckles. And then the interviewer has to sit there and give that nervous little laugh, right? But when the camera cuts back to him, he can't even look her in the eye. He looks down, he looks left, he looks right. I think he's embarrassed, right? Embarrassed that the footage still exists, and not necessarily that he said those horrible things to people. And there's obviously a difference, right? If you're truly sorry, you don't laugh your way through an apology. You don't say, well, what can I say? I'm sorry. I mean, he said it like the interviewer was harassing him, right? When you do apologize, you say it with some weight. You say it with conviction. You say it with your chest, right? But the emotion in his apology, it was not there, right? It feels like an apology that only exists now because the interviewer pressed him to confront it. If she had not pushed him, I highly doubt we even get this moment. And for him to sit here in this interview 20 years later and just go, what can I say? I'm not proud of it. That's not enough. Not for what he did to a lot of these people.
I never look at this stuff online or anything. You know, I'm not someone who particularly wants to see myself on camera. So when I hear about these clips, I'm like, oh God. But then again, the upside is, I suppose, with these clips is that it made the shows really popular worldwide.
We see the avoidance when he says, I never look at that stuff. They only use the bad moments. I do not like watching myself. But every time Simon Cowell says that, he's actually admitting that he knew the bad moments existed. He knew those moments were the reason the show blew up. He knew what the audience was tuning in for. So it's not just avoidance. It's a carefully crafted distance. Because if he pretends he wasn't invested in those moments, then he doesn't have to take responsibility for what they turned into. But whether he watches them or not, they're everywhere now. They live on the internet forever, and a lot of them have millions of views. But karma, oh karma, it never misses, because after a career built on mocking people's appearances and humiliating them on TV, the internet is now doing the same thing to him. People joke about his fillers, his surgeries, the whole melting face memes, and the changes to his face as well. And while I'm not celebrating any of that, because mocking someone's medical issues is just not my thing, the irony is impossible to ignore. See, this is the world he helped create. Simon Cowell helped build the culture of clip humiliation. Simon Cowell helped normalize the idea that mocking someone's confidence, someone's looks, someone's dreams is entertainment. And now the internet has the power to punch back. So what do you think? Do you think Simon Cowell's apology was genuine, or was he just trying to do damage control now that the internet is replaying all the moments he tried to downplay? Let me know in the comments below, and for more industry insights, check out this video right here.